broadcasting live from our studio in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. If this is your first time tuning in, WCZR is an independent streaming rock station based out of Appleton. I think you'll like what you hear. My next guests include members of The Color Morale, Dead Horses, and Devil's Teeth. The band is celebrating a major milestone. It's the release of their first full-length album in 2 decades. You heard me right, 2 decades. The album is titled Almost Didn't Make It. I'd like to welcome Offend Your Friends to Fox Cities Core. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having us, Andy.
Thanks for having us.
2 decades.
We are old.
First of all, I've got to ask, after going that long without putting an album out, how does it feel to finally get something that's about to see the light of day?
Who wants to handle that? Here, I'll say this. I don't have children. Some of the members of here do. It's kind of probably the closest I might get to birthing a child, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, the whole story fascinates me. So people that might not be aware, Offend Your Friends was a band that formed in the Fond du Lac, Wisconsin area. And when you guys started, you were very influenced by ska. At least you had a ska influence. The album that you're going to put out is a little more on the edging towards a heavier sound. But before we get into all that, which we're definitely going to, tell me how you guys all formed Offend Your Friends. Did you know each other prior, like story. In school or anything?
Yeah.
So Devin and I grew up in the same neighborhood, like a block apart, and we used to have a skateboard crew we would hang out with and, you know, kind of terrorize the neighborhood, skateboarding tricks off everything.
Yep,
Suburban
absolutely.
Neighbors yelling at you, get out of here. And Devin moved, you know, across town to another suburb. We reconnected years later in high school. So I'm walking in the halls, and Devin, you were just telling this story earlier, so you want to take it from here?
I mean, I was probably a freshman in high school, and I think we had like a gym class together when we started high school, and we just kind of started talking. And I played drums at the time, and Kev was looking to start a band, and I remember he picked me up in this party van with Luke, actually, and Luke was
hold up, we got to marinate that a little more.
Yeah.
I think you were starting the band,
or maybe I was.
Yeah, because you were really getting into music, and then you asked me like, "Hey, what do you think about a band?" And I think I knew Luke from art school. I met Luke in like 7th grade, and our art school teacher, she got in problems for drinking in class and that kind of school thing. I don't know, that's notable, but yeah. So Devin made this proposition of let's do a band, and I knew another guitar player. I knew Luke's family; they were all quite musical. So I think I was like, "Hey, Luke, my friend wants to start this band," and then tell the band.
And then so they show up at my parents' house. And I'm like 14 years old. And my parents thankfully know Kev. Otherwise, there's no way they would have let me in this van. But it's Luke shows up just full trench coat, like the scariest dude I've ever seen. Like didn't speak at all. Just kind of glared at me.
Did I have the mohawk at that point?
You had the mohawk.
You had this
right. So I think it was pink at the time. So I had a pink mohawk, and I was wearing it was my dad's Air Force jacket. But my dad is 6'3", and I am 5'8". So I was drowning in this thing.
Yeah. And got in the van. We went to your parents' basement and played some songs. And I think I played drums at the time. And then that band kind of fizzled out. But then a couple months later, I think we really kind of buckled down and started what would then become Offend Your Friends. And Luke's brother Wes was working nearby. And I didn't want to play drums anymore. I wanted to play guitar. And I think we called Wes and we're like, hey, sit down behind this drum set for a while to play some beats. And then he was our drummer for 10 years, even though he was not a drummer.
Yeah, we didn't even ask him to be in the band. We just asked him to play drums that practice, and then he was in the band.
It's like the
from that point
Tommy
forward.
Ramone thing where you just learn on the fly.
Yeah. And then Caleb joined really just a couple months after that.
I missed 3 shows, maybe 3 or 4 shows. I had known Wes because I was in a band called 3SM, and he was friends with those people. And Wes and I were going to start a ska band after that. We practiced a little bit, and that never really went anywhere. And then he's like, well, my main focus is this other band called Offend Your Friends. And then they must have talked to you guys. And yeah, it was like March of 2003. And you guys had your first practice as Offend Your Friends in December of 2002. So it was like a couple months.
Yeah, I remember there being a conversation about whether or not we wanted to add a saxophone to the band just for fun. Because at the time we were a 4-piece punk band. And then we thought, well, let's add a saxophone and make it kind of a punk ska band.
Well, paint a picture for me of what the scene was like in Fond du Lac at that time. What were some of the bands that were playing? Were there a lot of bands playing around that area at that point?
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer
It was huge.
that.
Yeah, I mean, like the local kids scene was great. I mean, the biggest influence as far as like ska would go, I guess, would be Pick Nine. And they were a couple years older than us, or 1 or 2.
They were very
or 3.
influential.
Very influential. We were just talking about them earlier today.
Bands like the Somatics was another one for me, who then became Start From Scratch.
Right. Jinxed.
Yeah.
Jinx was the one I was trying to remember.
It was cool, though, because it was like, for a small town, there was a relatively, shows were well attended.
There was something just
large.
about every weekend. There was some level of, and it was usually, because down in Fond du Lac, there's not a lot of entertainment for youth under the age of drinking age, but over the age of high school or like rec league and those kinds of things. So there was nothing really to fill in the entertainment value. So we kind of created a scene to fill the gap. So a lot of the scene was populated by high school and just out of high school age kids. A lot of it was things to do besides going to a bar or the mall was pretty much a lot of what the social scene was down there. So it developed more out of necessity than anything else.
Absolutely. I remember looking, back in the day, looking in the yellow pages to find a banquet hall.
Oh, yeah.
To be able, and I would call them up. I'm thinking about this as a 15-year-old kid calling these banquet halls like, hey, can I have a birthday party? And then there's some band's going to play. How much would that cost? They're like, it's $75. And then, so we would rent these places out and then just have shows and charge a couple bucks at the door. And 200 to 300 people would show up. And it really created a really cool community.
For a number of years, too, we were sort of a driving factor in that just because we wanted to schedule so many shows. We wanted to play every weekend because it was what we loved to do. So we would bring in bands from around the area. We would bring in bands from outside of the area. We'd try and draw in touring bands, pay them whatever we could. We would never get paid, but that wasn't the reason we were doing it. We were doing it for fun, to grow the scene, to grow the art. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really remember a lot of bands. These guys mentioned good ones, but for me, I wasn't even aware of music or you could start a band at that time. And then I just started seeing my friends playing in a garage, playing in a basement, right? I think the first live band I saw was my friend Erin Murphy, Smurf, playing in her parents' garage with some axe or something. I was like, you have some neural pathways connect. Whoa, you could do this? This is crazy.
Yeah. That was the one-legged space chickens.
What's
That's
that?
right.
Yeah. No way.
And I think they played that first show I ever played at Pardoon's house in May of 2003.
I think they did.
They played that.
Yeah, so that and then seeing Caleb in 3SM and that ska thing was popular. I think that was all downstream of Pick Nine and everybody wanted to be in a ska band at that time. We're like, should we do ska? Should we get in that too? Let's get a saxophone, right? That's
But we were never too ska, and I feel like the ska that we were influenced more was more like the Operation Ivy side of things.
Right.
A little bit more edgier, not like Fish as much or something like that.
Yeah.
Kev, when did you start singing?
Oh man, the origins of singing, I'd usually tell people in church, dude, for real. Going to church and singing in choir and stuff. And
You were in choir?
no, not official choir,
I've
but
never known that about you.
just being in a congregation.
You went to church?
Yeah. That's crazy. May you walk in the light of the Lord.
Well, that's awesome. I actually didn't know that.
But other than that, just jumping in this band, right? And lately with this album, I've been telling people I'm more of a writer than a singer. So
Our first music project together was The Loot, which was a rap band. that never performed and might have had 2 practices. But that was my first experience with.
Yeah, we
Kev
forgot
as
to
a
mention
vocalist.
that. We tried to do a hip hop band called The Loot, heavily influenced by Notorious B.I.G. Give me the loot, give me the loot.
And that was just, I think, 3 vocalists and a bass guitar.
Just rehearsals.
Yeah, and that was not good.
So how many songs did the Loot write?
None.
Oh, none. It's like a hip hop cover band.
We might have written one quality riff with some lyrics, but no. Usually the focus was on other things.
So once you got Caleb in the band playing saxophone, that cemented the ska edge you guys probably ended up getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we could sort of fit in with the ska bands, but not fully. And we could fit in with we didn't really fit in anywhere. We were kind of like miscreants, outcasts, did our own path,
Did you get a lot of shows with like Pick 9 around that time?
We played with them a few times, in 04, 05, and I think they were done.
They
around
disbanded
then.
pretty quickly after kind of when we were getting
Right.
started.
Right around there,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
We-
only a handful.
A couple of gigs.
I remember one of our first shows with them was at the old Fusions Cafe, which was
Yep.
the downtown theater in Fond du Lac. It was
Yeah.
between owners at the time, but
Yeah.
that's, I think, one of the only times I remember actually playing with them, but I think that was also the first time we played with Honor Amongst Thieves,
Well, hamburgers.
which is Walt Hamburger. He's playing with us this weekend.
Yeah, so I mean we're gonna get there, but that's
Yeah.
a nice full circle
Sure.
as well with the scissor kicks.
Right.
How much did you guys record back in the day?
So we have one album out there that a few fringe fans have that we recorded like either in the basement we rehearsed in or at our friend Davey's place, and it's like a 4-track or something. It may even be
like
pre-Caleb. So some people are rocking that. That's got to be like 2003 or
It's
2002.
early 03.
Yeah. Then once Caleb was in the band, we recorded. Was the EP next?
Yeah, we
No,
did the-
Indecisive Bastards
Yeah.
was next.
So full length
Full
with
length.
Caleb on it, and that was 2004.
It came out on December 31st of 2003.
Was that something that was released on CD at the
It's
time?
on, yep, CD, yep.
Yep. And then we did the 4-song EP after that. And then we decided to write like a 20-song
Double album.
a double
Yeah,
album.
we
idea.
thought we
That
were
was a
doing
bad
a
idea.
double album London Calling thing. We were really
not sound
full
like
of
London
ourselves.
Calling,
Yeah.
We were very ambitious. I still don't know how we afforded any of the studio time. I think it was mainly paid by Wes because he was
Yeah.
really the only person with a real
Yeah,
job. at
he
the
was
time.
working like 12-hour shifts
Quad
and just
graphics.
financing.
Wes and I
recording.
both paid
And
for
yeah, we probably
pretty
did.
much everything the band needed through its first 3 years.
Yeah.
Shout out to Anawan Studios in town, or Fond du Lac. That's
Yeah.
were we recorded all 3 of
that
those
stuff.
albums.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we were relatively ambitious.
Re-
In the
yeah.
beginning, we wrote and recorded 30 songs. I mean, in a period of 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
I would
That's
say.
a really good output. Did you guys play at Dude All Sports at some point? I feel like
A lot
Several
of times,
times.
Yeah, I
yeah.
was gonna say, I feel like I saw you there.
That was like 03, 04.
So we should bring it back to the
All the way through
the Do It All
06.
origin story. How we mentioned that Devin was in a band with Luke I and another guitar player, and we set up that band to play a music festival at our high school. They used to
that's
do
right.
They used to do a music fest every year called Goodstock, and so we were like, oh, we got on this. We're gonna bring our little cover band in. We're gonna do some tracks, right? So we got up on this stage and we were really sloppy, like just unrehearsed sloppy. And I was so anxious, I'm having a panic attack. And so I swear I let out a vulgarity, right? Like not even part of this song, just like whoops, so and we get cut off, and
Yeah.
the board is like so mad at us. We get kicked out of our high school event,
Yep.
our high school rock event.
And barred from performing there.
Couldn't
Yeah.
play again next year. We tried to play again next year. So at that time we
We were blacklisted.
had
essentially, yeah.
started Offend Your Friends after we got evicted from that, because we're like, okay, we're gonna come in and be rehearsed and good next year, and then we got banned. So we started our own event called Bad Stock.
Yes.
the yin yang counterpoint, and we needed a place to do Bad Stock, so we did it at Do It All Sports.
Yep.
And I don't know, people tell me you guys had more people there than Good Stock that year.
We did. We had hundreds.
Yeah,
We
so,
had like 500
I mean,
people there.
The first year we didn't, but the second, third, and I think we did it 4 years. We outdrew the original event every time.
I think Good Stock was $2 and we charged $1.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And granted, the name of that festival is called Goodstock because the high school was called Goodrich at the time.
Goodrich,
So
yeah.
that's where the
It
name
was a
comes
riff
from.
on Woodstock.
Oh, and then the logo for Bad Stock. So the logo for Good Stock was a cardinal because the high school is a cardinal, and then so we put a cardinal in a noose.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of imagery.
If you go to our Facebook, the flyers
probably
are in
see
the
it
flyers
somewhere.
section. I think there might be one in there. Yeah.
That's great. And the places like Do It All Sports were pretty special back then because you really could.
Yeah.
You said you had 500 people there. You really could pack people in to a venue like that. And I don't know if is there an all age places, or all age places in Milwaukee, Fond du Lac, or San Diego that are still.
I don't know
Catering?
about Fond du Lac,
There's some
but
places in Milwaukee that expand it to that. Sometimes it's all ages, sometimes it's not. I know that.
The X-Ray does all ages shows, don't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I heard there's a place in Oshkosh next to Reptile called the Jam. It might be
Oh,
closer
Jam-
to
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Jambalaya.
shout out! That's
So,
a new place in Oshkosh.
yeah,
People are telling us about
But
the
as far
jam.
as Fond du Lac itself, I'm not sure. But that was the thing about like Do It All too, is there was no adults in charge. You just were up
No.
there. No one was paying attention to you,
No one cared.
and yeah,
You could
it's like-
book it yourself
book
as
it
like
yourself.
a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
We were all adults at this time, however.
Well,
but
I was not.
He
Well,
was
you were
not.
not,
I
that's
was
true.
17 when we started playing.
yeah, I think
so-
you were 14 when we started.
Yeah.
But Do It All was the place that at least I was familiar with. Maybe you guys, but again, a bunch of those like local, just friends bands would play shows there. And I remember seeing a band called Broken Squirrel, which is like
Yep.
a punk kind of no effects, Fat Record style punk band, play a bunch of shows there. And so we were like, oh, we'll play Do It All. They're cool. They let anybody book there.
We played shows with them a number of times in our early days as well. I broke their bass amp. He was pretty mad at me about it.
How did he break the bass?
I
amp?
don't know even because I don't remember changing any of the settings, but we played after they did for some reason, and I blew the preamp on the head. And it was not a cheap head, but the guy that was the bass player in that band was also, I don't think he paid for that with his own money, whereas we were paying for all of our own instruments with our own money. So I didn't feel too bad about it.
Are there any bands from back in the day that are still together besides you guys now?
Shout out Scissor Kicks.
Were the Scissor
It's
Kicks
not
around
bad.
back
How,
then?
how far are we time
Yeah, that
traveling?
era, I mean, well, people that are still playing, like Walt, but actual bands,
Is Verona Grove still a band?
yes.
Yep,
Because
they're
I
back.
remember seeing
They were
something.
around
Yeah,
then.
they were around back then.
Well,
we didn't really play shows with them, but
No.
they were around that same time.
They were Barnyard Sam before.
Barnyard
that.
Sand, that's right.
Yeah.
Before that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So then how did Offend Your Friends break up? Not even break up,
Which
but how did they
time?
just stop
Yeah.
playing?
Something to do.
Oh, so there's been.
Something to do was around back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
one
we
band that
played
does
lots of
exist
shows.
now.
So you guys had multiple breakups.
Multiple
Yeah.
breakups.
Yep.
The big changing point was that Kev moved to California in 2009.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, I guess. But we had other issues come up.
Yeah, I mean,
before
like
that.
it was like just normal bands being dumb and just arguing with each other, kind of things where we would break up for. And this is in quotes. You can't do quotes on a radio.
What's
interview.
the video?
We have video. Okay, but it's just little arguments that you have, and then you're like, I'm not doing this band with you anymore, and then 2 weeks later you're at band practice and everything's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's hard enough to keep a band of 3 people together, let alone a band of 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like anything, especially in your late teens and your early 20s, you get big personalities, you get everybody together. A lot of times you're spending, days, hours together, or hours, days, sometimes weeks if you're doing a bunch of things back to back. You just,
I mean, that's
crazy.
really part of the story, though, too. That is, this band is just like based on friendship
Right.
and like bros hanging out and
Yeah.
like a brotherhood and stuff. That's really hard to break up, right? Like we're not in that for like hobby, or we've never like corporatized it. So to break it, a proper breakup would be something major, like that would damage, decades old relationships and stuff. And
Right, because in those intervening years between 2009 and now, we're still friends. That was when I think of these people. That's what I kind of think of first before the band, actually. Yeah.
Which one of my favorite bands, Coxbar, they have a similar story. It's just the lads hanging out, playing rock and roll kind of stuff, which is in line with what we're kind of doing.
So you broke up a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Got back together. Was it when you got back together? Was it everybody's in town for like Thanksgiving or something, and you guys would do a one-off thing, or was it a more permanent kind of thing and then a breakup again?
I mean, we played a couple times in 2009 or 2010. We did a 10-year reunion show in 2012. We played Ziggy's in Fond du Lac in 2014. And the last time we've played was about 10 years ago from now, was March of 2016. So every couple of years we would do that. And then we recorded a couple songs like in 2017 that we released in 2018. And then we started talking about this stuff in 2020. So we've never really stopped completely something. It's just never been active, really.
Well, those later years, I don't think we ever broke up. And again, that's in air quotes, and air quotes don't work on the thing, but we're on the... Anyway. But after Kev moved away and then Devin moved away, and we had all just started drifting to our future destinations,
Sure.
I don't think we ever had another falling out after that happened. There was just time between availability to get back together. We'd have arguments when we were younger, and we'd break up as a group for a month or two at worst.
Right.
And then it was just right back into the swing of things because it was too fun not to.
Yep.
That comment here from the legend himself, Andrew Johnson, said, so great, I remember fondly hearing about the stock wars at the shop. He's excited for the show.
Yeah.
Well, COVID hit, and then can you tell me a little bit about what sparked the most recent reunion?
Yeah, I mean,
And you guys never planned on recording again?
No, I didn't think it was
really.
going to happen.
No.
I mean, guys, I'll just say that the impetus for it was COVID happened. We started doing these like weekly chats on Saturday night, and they just would usually end up us drinking too much, and we're like, wait a minute, we're just not really accomplishing
Reminiscing
anything.
about everything. Remember that one
Yeah, the
time?
good times and that's what the
glory years.
going back to that friendship thing too. It's like, oh, who did you gravitate towards during that tough time of COVID? Like this is who we gravitated towards, and that shows you that too. So
Opposite ends of the country, and we still found a way to seek each other out.
Right.
We really did.
So if anyone wants to take it from there,
So yeah, we were doing those weekly chats, and we were like Caleb said, mainly just drinking. And then we got the idea. It was like, well, let's maybe do something fun. And I remember I was working a remote job at the time, and one of the days, instead of working that job, I just kind of sat down with my guitar and went into Logic and ended up writing a full song that ended up being titled "Fake Work Friday" because I wasn't actually working. That's the name of the song. But I sent it to the guys, and everyone really loved it. And then this chats kind of turned more into, instead of just catching up and everything, it's like, oh, well, what about this song idea? And like Kev ended up like showing me some videos of him playing guitar, and I took that and turned it into a song. And then Caleb had some song ideas. Dan, our drummer, had some song ideas, and we all just kind of kept sharing them with each other throughout these chats, and it slowly turned into a full record. If anyone else wants to continue.
Yeah, I think Devin wrote a lot of the instrumental tracks, and then our drummer Dan, which we probably should backstory him, but that's kind of wild too. He wrote some tracks. Caleb wrote some lyrics, so a lot of collaboration that previously we would all write in person, and this was just like everybody jamming it out. And once we had the instrumentals down, I would write lyrics over it. So I'd listen to it and walk around the park in my neighborhood and pen and pad, start writing stuff to it and kicking it around for feedback.
As a lyricist writer, you're listening to what Devin sent you and singing to that, or are you just writing something and singing a melody?
My songwriting process is like I'll get the music, and then I will do like Scatman vocals over it. I'll be like, just as like a rough draft to kind of find the notes or the melody, just total filler words, right? And then once I have that locked down, I'll go in and like wordsmith like what it's about. If I find a word that fits well, that might be like the whole theme of the song, right? I'm like, oh, that sounds great. What can I do with that? And then just spider web off of that, you know? So.
And your ability to do that, Kev, was always impressed me. Like when we didn't really get to do this on this record, obviously, because we did it all remotely and apart from each other. But when we would write songs together, it would always just be us like jamming a riff or something in practice. And within a minute, Kev would have some sort of melody or some sort of just like some sort of movement to get us going. And I always admired that about like your just ability to lock into stuff so quickly. And then, yeah, within like the next day or two, you'd put lyrics to it and we'd have a full song there.
Yeah.
What's harder for you, writing melody or lyrics?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think melody. I like the wordsmithing challenge of like, oh, I have to like write a narrative here. I have to make this kind of cohesive. Melody gets a little weird because you got to find like where to fit the vocals in between the instruments, right? So that they're unique and they're not just following along to like the horn line or the guitar part or something. Yeah.
It's really something. If you're not a lyricist or writing vocals, I think it's one of those things that it's hard to comprehend because unlike a guitar or bass or saxophone or something like that, you're limited to your voice.
Yeah, that's a great point, Andy, because on this album, you know, you have to struggle with writing stuff that's in your range and then also with like the tempo or the pace that you're not getting gassed out, running out of oxygen to spit it out, right? Kind of struggling with that on this new album, to be honest. Come to the show on March 20th.
The new album has energy. Like it's got a lot of gang vocals. It's the songs aren't, for the most part, songs that people are going to want to listen to sitting down. You're going to want to be standing up, singing along and pumping their fists and doing all that. When you were coming up with songs, Devin, the music part, was that something that you were trying to do?
I mean, yeah, Offend Your Friends has always been a very energetic type of band, and that's always been important. So I wanted to, and it's kind of hard to recreate that while writing by yourself to program drum beats and stuff like that. But I wanted to always make sure that the energy and the vibe of everything was still there. And while these are a little bit more polished than what some of our other stuff is, I still wanted that same vibe of everything there. And then adding, like, since we did it remotely, we kind of had some more time to add more group vocals and stuff like that, and just kind of thicken everything up and make this as, like, I don't want to say produced, but as produced of a record as we could. Something that, like, still sounds great because today's obviously recording standards and everything. Anyone can record on their laptop and it sounds awesome. So like wanting it to sound good, but still feel the same as Offend Your Friends too.
Can you explain to me how everybody participated in the gang vocals?
Yeah, so we, Kev, you want to talk about, we recorded the vocals for this album twice, actually.
Yeah.
So Kev, you want to take that story? First one.
Sure. So once I did a rough draft of the vocals out of my apartment in Oakland, and this was like during COVID lockdown, and I'm like screaming in my apartment, but luckily my upstairs neighbor is also my landlord, and he's also a party animal, so he would have like parties Friday night or something, and I'd be like, oh, sick, okay, I'm gonna go record this song now, like while he's blasting like 70s rock or whatever he's doing. So I did that, and the vocals were a little rough because I was still kind of muffled and everything. So we decided, okay, we're going to record the vocals in person. And so this was like post-COVID lockdowns, 2021.
August 21.
Yep.
Yeah.
We all got together in Milwaukee, and we went to our drummer, Danny Wolf's house, and he's calling it Wolf House Studios at the time. And so we recorded all the vocals there. We got everybody on the gang vocals and everything. Dan, he recorded it on his laptop, and then he went off to tour with his other band and accidentally left the laptop in his driveway as he drove off, came back 15 minutes later, and it had been stolen with the album on. And Dan didn't back anything up in the cloud.
He was taking the laptop with him to back it up on the road.
He's not a computer guy, quotes or whatever, right? So that happened, and then we went into panic mode. We're like posting flyers around the neighborhood. Have you seen this laptop? Right?
We had him up. Yep.
And then everybody immediately went into like depression and a morale hit. Right? Like, oh god, we lost this. It's so over. Right?
So
Like,
they didn't try to hide it that the laptop got stolen, hoping that it would show up. Everybody knew pretty quickly.
Immediately called
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then weirdly enough, the house across the street from him got raided by like the DEA or something. And a couple, like, you didn't want to go ask them if they found a laptop? Come on. So after we went through like a year-long depression and morale hit, which is part of why this album took so long, we got back together at a studio in Tulsa, Oklahoma called Gene Pump Studios, and flew in for that. Gene Pump, the owner, proprietor, is friends with Devin, really cool guy. Been really helpful on this whole album release and everything. And that was a lot of fun. It was like, was it Jack Kerouac's birthday? Or
Yeah, we were there on his 100th birthday.
Jack Kerouac's 100th birthday. We're recording in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm like reciting Kerouac out of like a book on the yard. And anyways, we did all the vocals again there in Tulsa. It sounded great.
We still had all the instrumental stuff.
For most of it. I had to do
Or
some
the majority
horn,
of it, yeah.
Horn I had to redo.
You had to redo some horn stuff, but all like the main skeletons of the songs were still there.
I think that's a contributing factor as to why there are so many gang vocals too, is because we all flew into Tulsa 2 years after this project had started, solely focused on vocals and backing vocals, and spent 3 days on it.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit more effort placed on that than there had been.
And in that
previously.
intervening time between the Lost album and then re-recording, we got 2 more songs, Light a Spark and Raw Denim, that were
Right.
written that wouldn't have been on the album if that would have been lost.
Yep. So we did,
So you had the
grow the
lead
scope
single
a little.
The lead single wouldn't have existed, yes.
Yep, and then while we were at Gene Pump Studios recording vocals was when we decided to add the 12th song to the album, was when we redid a song we had previously done.
that's right.
Was
Yeah.
Olive Branch. We decided to do the acoustic vocals, the acoustic guitar and the vocals, which was how it was originally written in the first place, was at my parents' house in a garage with an acoustic guitar and a bunch of people standing around singing campfire songs. So,
We wanted to really recapture that vibe
yeah,
that we had
and I
when
think
we wrote it.
really did too.
Yep, it's one of my favorites on the record.
I like that song as well because it has like you said, a laid back feeling. It's different than the rest of the album. It sounds like a party song, like somebody whipped out a guitar and everybody's singing. Another like anthem song.
Right.
I have here that the album is almost called Landlord Party. Is that because of
You got it.
Party
Yeah,
Closet.
that's
Landlord Party
The
Closet.
closet that he
Yeah.
would sing in.
That's pretty funny. I mean, obviously, it almost didn't make it as a great title though. But if you make another one, you can always go back to that.
They're both great titles.
So you ended up getting the album recorded. It sounds like that when it was said and done, it took how many years would you say? 4?
Solid
Yeah,
four.
The demo
4 to
started
5,
in 2020, so that's
6?
almost, pandemic hit 6 years ago this week, right? So,
Yeah, it really did.
but then we finished recording in 2022, so it's been actually longer since then to get it out.
Well, I think it took a little bit longer to get drums done.
Maybe
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
drums 20, yeah, maybe
Because
yeah.
I just programmed drums at
Yeah.
first, and then Dan later actually recorded his parts and
Sure.
changed.
That's
changed his
another
parts.
unique thing about this
Sure.
album, is that the drums were the last thing to be tracked.
That's the first time we've ever done that.
Yeah,
for sure.
typically we track
Yeah.
drums first. Most bands do. Well,
Yeah.
most bands I'm aware of anyway.
How did the retracking, adding the real drums, change the sound of the songs, or did it?
I think it did. I think it made it feel more us, because like with programming drums and everything, you can just everything's locked to a grid, everything's perfect,
They're bigger.
and with having Dan in there, it
Yeah.
just feels real. It feels like us again.
They're bigger. The spacing on the notes is just a little bit different, just a little bit human,
Yeah.
as opposed. And he's a very talented musician, so he does bring just an element that wasn't there.
When you guys had it mixed by Colton Gene,
Yep.
did anybody tell Colton to maybe take anybody's parts off there or change it without them knowing? Anybody want to fess up to that?
He
or-
may have done that without any of us knowing, to be honest. I suspect he may have re-recorded stuff himself at like a large swath. So
Well,
who
Colton
knows?
and I did some harmonies later on.
Okay.
I've heard of some engineers doing that, and people that recording engineers like actually re-recording parts of the band and not telling them, and then forever not knowing.
I'll give him a call tonight.
Yeah.
If to mix it, you went to one of the masters, Justin Perkins, to master it.
Sure.
Once you got the finished album back, did you guys get together on Zoom or in person to listen to it all the way through? Once you had it,
This week is
Physical?
the first time we've been together in person in years.
2021.
Yeah.
So we were just shooting tracks around, being like, "What do you think of this?"
Yeah.
As they were coming in and kind of critiquing them and reviewing.
Yeah, but I think when the final mixes were there, we kind of knew they were there, and then the masters, Perkins brought them in, and we're like, "That's great." We just
Yeah.
signed off right away on that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, 7 or 8 different email threads and a couple of different messenger threads, some text message threads,
Right.
some other, just a lot of back and forth.
Walt Hamburger is watching. He said, "Is this economy?" I don't know. Is that an inside comment?
Is
or-
this
in
economy?
this economy? I'm sorry. In this economy? Question mark. Probably referring to something that was said earlier. I can't remember. Sorry, Walt.
Who knows? What?
Oh, wait, is that what I said?
what did you say?
I think Walt was upset that I didn't put his whole band name on the flyer.
Oh.
And I said,
Oh.
in this economy, we can only fit Walt Hamburger on
Yes, because it's Walt Hamburger and the Appleton Shadow Band. That's who's playing with us. Thanks.
You know, it's really likely that he wasn't even referencing that. Now you just
Probably.
reminded him of it. And now there will be salt.
He's in Canada right now. So.
No, he's back in
Was he
Appleton.
back? Okay.
Yeah, he was traveling today.
So once the songs were back, you guys heard them. You can't change anything. Any mistakes or anything on there that any of you hear every time you hear the songs and you wish you could go back and change at this point? Not that that's a
100%.
bad thing, but
Yeah,
For me, no. And honestly, listening to a lot of the older stuff, there's major cringe moments.
Yeah.
of,
Yes.
Like stuff where we've, edited a line of vocals and you can hear like the hard cut in it. I think any mistakes for me were just like, messing up what we talked about earlier, the pacing or so like now, like it's hard. It's really hard to sing some of these songs because in the studio we record them, like line by line, taking a breath, like really nail this, right? And then spitting them out all at once is like, oh, wow, why did we write so many lyrics?
well, that's another studio trick that if people aren't into recording and stuff,
Yep.
they don't know about. But a lot
Right.
of
You might go word by word at points,
Yeah.
just to nail one word.
I layered horn on at least one track for the first time ever, I think, too. which
There's acoustic guitar on every song, just
Yeah.
tucked in there that I recorded too.
just another layer. That
Just another layer, yeah.
Yeah, there's at least 2 bass tracks on every song, too, I think.
There's a whole song I didn't want on the record, but I was
Oh,
outvoted.
Raw Denim.
Which one was it? That
Raw Denim.
So that will now be everyone's favorite.
Yep.
well, and you had enough songs on there where you could have, scrapped one and still been
Yeah.
good for a full length. But
I tried, but I was outvoted.
Raw Denim, I have to ask, on the CD, are the swear words censored like that?
Oh, yeah.
So I love
Yeah.
I love that. I think that is cool that
Yeah.
on the actual CD it's censored.
We tried it both ways, and it was better with the
It was,
bleeps.
it was, it was funnier.
yeah.
But that's an interesting thing too. Like, Offend Your Friends was a relatively vulgar band, I think, and there's actually no cursing on this entire record.
It's our first radio-friendly,
we
fully studio
thought of-
album here.
Thought of titling it like studio or radio friendly album. It was like one of the floated titles.
Yeah,
I'm sure I was aware of that before this moment, but I am still floored by that statement.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So it's going to be cool. You guys are playing the Passenger Lounge in Fond du Lac this coming weekend, and for the reasons we talked about, the rehearsals that you guys have been doing, it must be a learning experience to be going through all of these songs all at once. What are some of the surprises that have come up in rehearsals?
The amount of vocals
Yeah.
that are on the record, we all have microphones now. And
Yeah.
we're all doing vocals,
And
even
our-
Dan.
Our new mantra is offend your friends, sing it if you can.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we decided.
It's like,
Sing what you can.
Yeah, sing what you can.
And that's like, so if you're not used to singing and playing, that's also like something you've got to learn in your muscle memory.
Right.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I really don't have to sing as much because I have to play
Yeah.
the saxophone.
You
but,
do dance though.
Yeah.
You're dancing sometimes when you're not playing, and now
Maybe.
you're gonna have to.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, it's so the album gets done. You guys then decide to look at the artwork after you had the album recorded, or was that in flight during the actual recording?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Towards the end, I would say, because we didn't have the title figured out. It was supposed to be Landlord Party Closet for how long?
For a long time,
And then
yeah.
we finally, once we settled on it, almost didn't make it.
No, I mean, recording was completed before we started art.
Art, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were in mixing, mastering, post-production phase when we started working on art.
Well, and there was an original artwork. So another reason for the almost
Yeah.
didn't make it. Wes, well, he had a heart surgery.
Yeah.
And I don't know the exact procedure. He's okay, but during the procedure, they had to stop his heart for a second, and so we have the EKG of that happening, and that was going to be the original artwork at first, and then I think Kevin might have been your sister or something that had the idea of like you should just put like
It
create
was-
an
it
image
was,
of,
yeah.
of like one of you guys on a hospital bed and you guys all around it, and then we kind of took that idea and ran with it, and Wes made this amazing artwork of all of us kind of trying to be around him and reviving him.
Yeah.
With lots of Easter eggs hidden in the artwork.
You're
Yeah.
being kind though, because the feedback was not, like this would be better. It was that's a trash album cover. Do better. We've waited 5 years for this. Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing.
Right, and I mean, and it turned out obviously much more
Yeah,
better.
that it really did keep. Wes is the one who did all of the album art on that, so I
The
want to make sure that he
singles
gets
too, yeah.
and the single art.
Singles.
So I want to make sure he gets the credit that it's due. But he kind of almost took that as a challenge.
I think he liked being told. He's like, all right, well then I'm gonna
Yeah.
do this then,
Yeah.
So it was good
He made
for
it
him in the long run.
even more than we
Yeah.
ever could have dreamed
Yep.
of.
So then it was color formed and all brand new concept art for all of the singles and the album and the disc and yeah. So he's been busy.
What's with the rubber ducky?
What's the original moment?
Kevin,
I kind of forget, but at one point
It
we
was
had a
ceramic.
we
Yes.
had a duck. Like
Yep.
Luke's brother like rescued a duck,
Oh,
and
that's
then
true.
it was living in the home we used to rehearse out of. So we would hang out with this duck, and it just like spirit animal became adopted as like a logo
Yep.
and everything.
We didn't have that duck for very long.
Like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then released it.
But there was a ceramic duck.
There was a ceramic duck that lived on the drum set for a number of our first shows and eventually was knocked off. I can't place when or where
it's a
or
miracle it lasted as long.
it really was,
He
but
had a-
that shattered. So that was replaced by a rubber duck and a very like a cycle of varying rubber ducks.
There was a
with,
plush one, I
Yep.
think.
There were outfits on them every now and then.
He had a T-shirt with ducks on it.
Yep.
A duck on riding a rocket, I think maybe.
Some of the fans would pick up on it and bring rubber ducks to shows.
It doesn't really mean anything.
It doesn't. No, it's just kind of a niche little thing there that just kind of
so it's
still
it's
exists.
the actual CD is
There it
it's
is.
a duck.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, there it is.
And then it's got the duck on the front too, which
Yeah.
and the back. It's ducks all over the place.
There are so many Easter eggs in that album art that I'm not going to tell anybody what's all on there. I want them to take a look and see how many of them they can find for themselves. But there's so many Easter eggs buried in that art. See what you can find.
And you guys released a few singles leading up to the album release later this week. You put out, again, there's 3 singles out, and they all have different artwork. Does each single mean something as far as the artwork goes?
The only one that really means anything is the Scott Stapp artwork. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I always had that. Well, anyway, the reason the song is called Scott Stapp, it has nothing to do with Creed.
I was
But,
wondering about that.
Yeah. So while we were writing, the majority of the songs I had written for the record were kind of more punk based, and it's like, well, we were a pretty ska influenced band. I need to write a ska song, and so I wrote that, and then I just jokingly titled it Scott Stapp. I always had this idea of a Creed ska cover band that would be called Scott Stapp. I thought that was just a really funny idea.
Somebody out there should do that.
Someone
FYI.
should do that.
Free-
That's our next
That'll
album.
go viral immediately.
Like, with Arms Wide Open, just ska version, like it would be awesome. And so I just jokingly titled the demo that, and then we were just
Couldn't
it
you?
just kind of just stayed, and we never ended up changing it.
Can you
And-
pick it up with your arms wide open? I don't think you can.
I don't really can.
Sorry.
But then we thought it would be funny to kind of rip off their album art, but make it with our zombie pirate and with a saxophone. But that's the only artwork that kind of means anything, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the lightest spark,
The lightest spark one.
was sort of a literal interpretation of lighting a spark within someone as like a sort of driving a passion in someone or something to that effect.
And then explain Fake Work Fridays artwork.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like three guys sitting there.
That's found that somewhere.
I don't know. I found this image of these three guys on some corner of the internet, and it's been burned into my mind. And leading up to the album release, I kept sending it to the band. I'm like, "Yo, I got the cover art right here, and this is the one, right?" And I couldn't get over it. And finally, we're like, "Well, we need a cover for Fake Work Fridays." And hey, it's time. It's time. And so Wes took the actual photo and then, like, illustrated it and added his own gimmicks and things to it. And yeah, that's it.
And there's some Easter eggs in there too. For instance, if you look at the
Friends.
table,
Yep.
well, there's it's reflection on the window, and then on the table it says Night Owl on a Bag, which is a burger place in Milwaukee that actually opened for the season today.
Right, Night Owl.
But we ate that when we were recording a
Yeah,
couple times.
every time.
And there's beer cans on there and such too. So
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys
Those
on the
three
album
guys.
cover. I hope they're
they're
still
doing well,
partying.
yeah.
Hope they're still partying.
Bob Minter said MD 2020 for an IV is a medical breakthrough.
Yes.
Agreed.
cheap too.
Yeah, we
You got to
lived
keep the
off
blood
of
the
that stuff.
same consistency, otherwise the body gets shocked. So
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be back with some of the guys from Offend Your Friends. If you've got a question, give us a call. The number is in the chat. You guys are up for
Oh yeah.
questions.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
They've got a new album coming out called Almost Didn't Make It. You're watching Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio.
A few words about our sponsor. Pasquarello Auto Sales has been in business since July of 1983. That's 42 years of serving the surrounding community with quality pre-owned and fleet-owned vehicles and service you can trust. They've also been voted #1 best used car dealership in Oshkosh 4 years in a row. Well, that's more than a few words, so here's a few more. Pasquarello Auto Sales is a passionate supporter of the Fox Valley music community, and for that, we encourage you to support them. Your next vehicle purchase is important. Pasquarello Auto Sales is there for you every step of the way, from the showroom to your driveway. Find and like on Facebook or online, PasquarelloAutoSales.net. They're located at 3699 Jackson Street in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and closed on Sundays. Give them a call at 920-230-3030. Pasquarello Auto Sales of Oshkosh, where you're treated like family.
We are back. You're watching Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio, joined by some of the members of Offend Your Friends who put out an album called Almost Didn't Make It. They've got a show coming up this weekend at the Passenger Lounge in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. They're also taking questions. Somebody tried calling right when we went into the commercial break. Feel free to give us a call back. Ask the band a question. Do you guys get nervous before shows yet?
Not
Yes.
anymore, for me.
I still have a moment of nerves where I have to, like, tell myself, okay, everybody's here to see you, calm down, right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that
very-
would stress me out more.
I don't know.
no, I get good nerves. I get anticipated. I get like jumpy, but
I think our
Yeah.
very first shows, I got incredibly nervous, like to the point of like almost throwing up in the bathroom.
yeah, I remember that.
But that after probably 3 shows, then it was like, oh, this is what I meant to do.
Yeah.
And like the nerves went away after that.
I don't necessarily get nervous. I just get like kind of zoned in, and like for 2 hours before the show, I can't like talk to anyone. I'll just walk around, and then that's like built up, tensed up energy. It just kind of like, let's go when you get up there.
What? I don't want to make you nervous, but we have a caller. What's your question for the band?
Hey, Andy, thanks for taking my call. This is Bert from Madison. I'm a long-time listener. I'm a first-time caller. So my question is a two-parter I got. So first part, I saw you guys way back in February of 2005 at a Mexican restaurant, and some kid jumped over the second-story balcony into the pit.
Yep.
Do you guys remember that?
Sure do.
And then number two, you mentioned earlier that you had broken a bass amp at some point. What kind of other stuff have you broken at shows? I'll hang up and take my answer. Thanks.
Okay, Casa Mexico balcony kid. Was that? My
That was
brother?
your brother.
That was
Your
your
brother.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Second
my
story balcony.
Shout out to my brother. He's got a song on that new album after him, Bavarian Street Prince of the Underground, and he jumped off a second floor balcony at our show into the mosh pit at that time.
Wasn't that his birthday? Who also shares a birthday with that caller?
Yes.
We know that. Yes. Other broken things?
We have broken so many things.
There was an expensive mirror.
There was a mirror. That was one of the
I
first
just,
things.
yes,
Where was the mirror
the
story?
mirror
It was
story. Actually, I was
Oshkosh?
just talking. It was up in Neenah. We played a show with Social Classics, Amos Pitch's band at the time, and I was just talking to him about this. And Wes decided he was going to play when he was drumming at the time. He's going to face this mirror instead of facing the crowd. So he played the whole show facing the wrong way, but he could see in the mirror kind of. It was like a floor to ceiling mirror, I think. And then somehow, I don't know if he threw his drum set or what, but he broke it. And it was like a $500 mirror. And then I remember at the end of the night, Amos was
Just
like,
shattered.
Here,
Just shattered
you guys can have
glass.
$14 for playing. It'll be fine about the mirror.
And we were never invited.
I broke a few saxophones. There was one show where I broke one because I always would just throw them up in the air and try to catch them, and I don't do that anymore as much. But I ran to the bar and I got some duct tape and I'm like trying to tape it back together. And I'm also going to bring 3 horns to this show, so if I accidentally get too excited, then I got backups. Other
duct
broken
tape as well.
things.
I specifically remember breaking one acoustic ceiling tile when we played a show at the University of Northern Michigan.
Oh yeah.
We were
MXPX.
opening for Mustard Plug.
No, we opened at MXPX. That
Oh, it's MXPX, not Mustard Plug. Yep. And I imbibed too many adult beverages beforehand. I do not remember playing
you
that
passed
show.
out in the merch bin after
did,
that show.
on the table.
On the table.
There was a Rubbermaid container,
There was a line
like
of
a 30
people
gallon one.
trying to get autographs from MXPX at that table, and then here's Luke passed out in the.
That was like 18 or 19
You
or
almost
20
got
years.
kicked out of that show
Yeah,
too. We were playing it.
That was right around the time we turned. I think I had just turned 21 at that time, and I think I was all of like 135 pounds. So I folded up neatly into a suitcase pretty well.
I had a broken foot or ankle at that show. I was on crutches, and I recall throwing my crutch into the audience or into the ceiling tiles and destroying.
I
That might have
remember-
been the biggest crowd we ever played for.
Yeah,
I was able to stage dive without hitting the ground, which was nuts.
I remember seeing you do that and then stage diving after you and hitting the ground. That was fun and embarrassing as hell.
We were not invited back.
No. We were actually told we were no longer welcome there.
I think so.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
There's several University of Wisconsin campuses we are no longer welcome at. There's
Well,
one
and
in
Wisconsin
Wisconsin
counties.
County we're no longer welcome in. There's one Michigan University we're no longer welcome at.
Back when Wes was the drummer at one of the Bad Stocks, he took a sledgehammer and mutilated the drum set and then launched it into the crowd. The bass drum flew and.
I feel
Now-
like a lot of broken drum equipment.
They were really mad about that one because when we were playing that show, it was on a floor hockey arena,
Yeah, yeah.
and the arena floor is actually supposed to be a certain, it's got to be a consistent surface so you can roll on it and skate and stuff. And we smashed a drum set with a sledgehammer on that. So we were no longer welcome at Do It All after that.
That was the last one.
There's a theme here about welcome.
It's like do it all. You can't do it all at Do It All Sports.
Watch
You can do
out
almost it
Passenger
all.
Lounge coming to you this Saturday, March 28th.
We've got another
It's-
call.
It's been a solid 10 years since we've been kicked out of any place.
What's your question for the band?
Hi, I just want to say I've been friends with at least one of the members for a long time since their breaking up deal. But I've seen them at music festivals, and that brings my question: any music festivals in talks, or any since you guys all grown up, is there any chance of playing bigger scale shows or anything like that?
Great question, caller.
You know who that was?
Appreciate it.
That was Danny Dew.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
So to answer that, we have an invite right now to Summerfest in June. We have a rock and roll stage invite down there we're considering. And then we have an application in for Fest in Gainesville in October. So fingers crossed, and anybody listening, put in a good word out there. Peer pressure, that'd be the top of the mountain for us to just go play Fest, and then we'd be like, okay, later.
So this album, this isn't going to be a one and done thing at the Passenger Lounge. You guys have plans to keep going.
We've talked about doing some things.
We don't make plans. We more
Yeah.
go with the flow. If it feels right, we'll write an album or we'll play a show wherever.
The universal messaging behind this one is that this album is probably one that we are the most proud of. We want as many people to hear it as possible, and we want to keep having fun with it. So whatever still is open to us that we can fit in the rest of our lives, we're going to keep doing it as long as we can.
There's some Easter eggs on the album cover, like you said, but there's also some lyrics, I believe, that reference the water tower in Fond du Lac. Was that a shout out to some of the guys in Jinx back in the day?
Yeah.
That whole song is,
There's
lyrically.
couple different references there. The water tower reference, we say the tower's gone. That was the one song that I wrote the lyrics on, and actually I presented it to Kevin. I think, Kev, you were like, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to write the lyrics. Then he read the lyrics. He's like, okay, they're not that bad. I guess we'll keep it. And so the water tower was on our first album on the cover. You see the water tower and Kev's back with the Fend Your Friend stenciled on his back of his.
I used to skateboard down there. There was a lot underneath it, Petrie's water or whatever, and that was like a skateboarder hangout. So I always see that thing in the background, and then we put it on the album cover.
Yep.
I have a tattoo of that album cover, actually.
Yeah.
No, I won't show you.
And then
And then the Jinxed Man Dead, that's a reference.
that's directly
to Phil and
Jinx.
Opie from
Yeah,
Jinxed. And, Opie, we played with Start From Scratch, we played with IDFK, we played with Johnny and the Fucks, we played with shows, all those bands, and then Jinxed, we had seen them before we started. So that song is kind of just like going back to the roots, going back to our hometown, and then what is the same, what has changed, and we reference Mad Dog in that one too.
So the references are full in this album.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lore in this album. A lot of lore to the band. Deep lore cuts on this.
And you guys aren't just letting this album come out. You guys were in Fond du Lac earlier today doing an interview there. You're doing this today. You've got stuff going on tomorrow in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yep.
What else coming up that people should tune in for?
Yes, so tomorrow we're going to be on WMSC 91.7 in Milwaukee at 1 p.m. And then we did an interview today with WTCX in Fond du Lac.
I think it'll air tomorrow at 4.
At 4.
Yeah.
They said the 4 o'clock hour, so.
Yes.
It's like waiting for the cable
Yeah,
company.
right. Yeah.
Anywhere from 8 till 5. It will be on.
So there's a lot of stuff besides the Passenger Lounge to get excited for. This is like a ramp up
Yeah.
kickoff week.
Yeah, we'll be doing a bunch of social media promotion, still percolating it around, and like whatever comes up.
Wanted to ask about Killer Acid. There's a high pitched part about 2/3 through the song that I think I love. It just pops out of nowhere. And
Falsetto part?
Yes.
Oh.
Tell me
you got
what
good
gave you the idea
taste.
to do that.
That's a good. Devin, was that your suggestion?
I don't remember, actually.
I wasn't expecting it.
That
I love
part
that kind of
really
stuff.
sounded like it had like a disco funk vibe to me a little bit. So I was like, like kind of doing that. And just adding general contrast too, right? There's not a lot of that falsetto happening elsewhere.
Yeah. When we were in the studio, we were kicking around because it's a change of pace in the song at that point in time, and we were trying to figure out how to make the vocals sort of pop in that moment. I think the falsetto that's why we landed on the falsetto there, was because it was such a shift. And we wanted to hit some notes that are not in any of our normal vocal ranges. So.
I got some screams on that one that are really hot.
Oh, yeah,
too.
yeah.
But that song's I love Dan's writing on that song. Like, that just takes you on a journey.
That's
It's
it.
like a
That's-
totally different song than anything we've ever done.
That's a good segue into the Dan lore. So that
Yeah.
song specifically was musically written by our drummer Danny Wolf, and Danny Wolf joined us later in the band's life. We had Wesley on drums for years, and we wrote a song. We were trying to branch out in our songwriting. We wrote a song that Wesley couldn't play on drums, right? To be fair. Yeah. So we put out MySpace at the time, social media posts were like, hey, we need a new drummer, right? And we had this inbound lead from individual with like a cat avatar, and his username was Cocktutor. And he's like, "Hey guys, I'm into this. I'll try out." Right. So we're like, okay, we got the Cocktutor tryouts this evening. Okay. So we have him come in and audition, and like, he immediately like got along with us on the same vibes and personality, and he's played drums really well.
We had a show that night.
Yeah.
We put him behind the set for 2 songs that show with no practice whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he was fine.
And so then we love Wesley to death, and this band wouldn't be the band without him. So we put him on second guitar, right? And
Which is his main instrument
Right.
anyway.
Yeah,
Like Wes
yeah.
didn't want to be a drummer at
Ever,
all.
yeah.
And he just kind of did because we needed it for years.
Yeah, because it was 2008 when Dan took over on drums. And the impetus to that, too, is my parents' house burned down, which we had the drum set in.
Yeah.
And so finally, Wes was like, oh, I don't have to be the drummer anymore because I'm not going to buy another drum set.
Yeah.
And after 6 years of being the drummer, that's when we found Dan. And
Yeah, I wanted to correct the record on that one too, because it wasn't just because there were harder drum parts. It's because partially
You
because
didn't want
we
to get another
wanted
drum set,
we
okay,
wanted
that's-
the drums to grow, and Wes did not have any interest in learning how to be a better drummer.
sure. The 1-2-1-2 polka beat has.
And we were
surprised-
already 6 years into being a band at that point, I think. So it was like, well, let's grow the sound as quickly as possible.
Well, we're getting near the end of the show. I want to go through. We'll start with Kevin. Just what's your favorite song on the album?
Oh man, that's tough. I keep coming back to Killer Acid, and I just remember writing that, walking around, and when it started to click, I was like, "Whoa, this is sick!" So I gotta say Killer Acid.
I personally, I always toss back and forth between 3 different songs. It's either Terry Funk, it's Bavarian the Street Prince, or it's Scott Stapp. Scott Stapp is because that's my favorite bass part on the album, and then Terry Funk and Bavarian both have an energy and a vibe to them that is hard to quantify, and it's just that it inspires an emotion, and I just love them.
For me, it's probably a toss-up between Terry Funk Retirement Plan and Killer Acid. Terry Funk for like the energy you're talking about, just the messaging that Kev has on the chorus. Killer Acid is almost nostalgic at moments. It references a lot of stuff from like 20 years ago. It's summer 2005 vibes I get from it.
Does reference a party house we used to stay at.
Yeah.
And
And it also references like the outro's kind of like there's like Kurt Vonnegut references on it. It's kind of like all mixed together. So it's a kind of a trip in its own right. So those two probably.
And then for me, I think sonically I like Light a Spark the most, but then in terms of vibe, I really like how we redid Olive Branch. Even though it's an older song,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really like just how we captured the energy of how that song was originally written.
Yeah, I think people should check this out when you're playing at the Passenger. Pick it up. Are you going to have other merchandise available?
Yep. We're going to have some T-shirts that are going to be available as well. That's pretty much it, right?
T-shirts,
CDs,
CDs,
shirts.
CDs.
Any throwback T-shirts?
No.
We might have a couple sitting around in a bin somewhere that
Actually,
if
yeah, I
they
should
show
Who
up.
has the bin? That would be the
Yeah,
question.
that bin moved around from house to house for a number of years after the band
Like,
stopped
I don't want it.
having.
Actually, it might be. Wasn't it yours?
It might be in my
Let's check
basement.
that.
So if
Maybe
I
we
can
have
find
merch.
it, if we've got some old stock, we'll bring it to the show. You can absolutely probably give them away.
We'll just
for
give
free.
that out. Yeah, we don't need one.
Where can people go to find out more about Offend Your Friends?
offendyourfriends.com goes straight to our Bandcamp page.
Yep.
We're on social media, Instagram, Facebook. I think if you Google Offend Your Friends, we're top stuff there, Yeah. Come on down to the Passenger Lounge March 28th and learn more. Oh!
And I'll also mention that the show on March 28th is a $5 cover, which is really reasonable. It is, again, with Walt Hamburger and Scissor Kicks. Doors 7, show at 8. Passenger Lounge in Fond du Lac. Offend Your Friends. Almost Didn't Make It album release show. Thank you guys for joining us today on Fox Cities Core. It was great to have you guys in the studio, and really excited that you guys are back in action.
Thank you, Andy. This is very
for having
cool.
us.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. This is
Yes.
really sick.
Great.
Just really happy to be here and really looking forward to playing with these guys again.
Our first show ever was $4, and due to inflation, this show is $5.
We did have to increase the price by 25%.
Thank you for watching Fox Cities Core on Code Zero Radio. You know the drill if you haven't already. If you could find us on YouTube, search for Fox Cities Core. You'll be able to go through and watch some of the interviews we've done over the last 5 years. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on future interviews. Be sure to check out and support all of the great resources we have here in the Fox Cities. This really is the greatest music community.
Lost track of time.